Tôi, Phạm Thắng, học viên lớp kỹ thuật hóa học, lớp hóa năm 29A, báo cáo đồng chí chủ tịch hội đồng. Theo lời gọi của các bạn. Ê! Đó. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my presentation today. It's a great honor to be here today, and thank you so much for the attendance. So, we're not going to waste your time anymore. It's time for me to show you the research inside of my thesis. So, if you have any questions, please ask me at the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. So, as you can see on the screen here, the title of the topic of my thesis, Calculation of High Definition Composition in the PS95 method, used in the Thầy Phạm Thắng. So my main supervisor, my scientific advisor, Dr. Luận Văn Tiếng, the chairman that has a prominent and exclusive department, faculty of Reference. So I want to show you the structure of my thesis. So I divided my thesis into some parts here, as you can see on the screen. But actually, we don't have enough time to present the whole thesis, right? So let's focus on some of the content here. The first one is background, and the next one, I want to show you the research objectives and give you some methodologies that I use to conduct the experiment in my thesis. And next one, the main part, I'm going to show you research results and give you some discussion about it. And last one, conclusions and recommendations for future research. So let's start with background. This one will answer directly the question related to this topic. So as you know that the title is the field of technology that combines science and art to accelerate in calculate, and from that it creates light, color, audio effects, and gas pressure for entertainment, emergency display, and military application. And military pipeline science includes a wide range of devices for illumination, ignition, signaling, obscuration, and gas generation. And recent decades, the preparation of hydrogen composition has appeared as a new trend in the field of hydrogen research in Vietnam. And I think it stems from the great demand for using this method to ignite reactive mixture in the creation. So let me show you the information from the predefined mixture here. Recently, Vietnamese naval development has been mainly focused on acquiring Russian technology. For example, from 2001 to 2015, Russia supplied Vietnam with 198 Thầy Phạm for state use. And by June 2016, Vietnam was planning to start a serial production of our edition with 15 based on the Thầy Phạm. So as a result, the creative defense plays an essential role, singular role in the defense of our country, right? So it's necessary to master step by step the creative defense of manufacturing technology. And the first thing, we have to master the technological process to produce the high-definition composition in this missile. So actually, in Vietnam, there has been lack of both knowledge and scientific investigation in the preparation and production of high-speed composition. For example, to produce a high-speed composition, we have to mainly focus on reading some Russian documents or analyzing the Russian sample in command system or missile without electrical transfer. And as a result, the high-speed composition that we produced didn't meet the requirements of quality, specification, and application. So this thesis aims to ascertain the optimal condition for preparing the high-definition composition based on the coding, granite, and ANSI, which has similar technical specification and with the high-definition composition in the main charge of the PS95 manufactured by Russia, a laboratory experiment. So this is a research objective of my thesis. So to conduct the practical experiment in my thesis, we use some, apparatus and methodology here. The first one, the analytical method, and the second one is the elimination of raw material particle size distribution. And all the sample was prepared a laboratory scale by the following step, as you can see on the screen. And after that is the determination of energy characteristic specification, including combustion temperature, the evaluation temperature, burning rate, and gas volume. So let's move on to the main chapter, the main part. Now I want to show you the research results and give you some discussion about it. And after spending a lot of time to conduct the practical experiment methods, I got some results here, including 6 sections. The first one, the structure and composition of the matrix. And we use the VBA programming language to, theoretical calculation for proper solution of the hierarchical division calculation. And we, determine the equator of the Coulomb content, the Coulomb particle size, on some specification, and the particle density on the burn rate. And after that, we contribute the technological process to produce the particle composition based on the Coulomb, radius, and acid. So let's get started with section 3.1. You can see on the screen here the figure 3.1 illustrates the sketch and the real images of the matrix in the PS mathematical method. So the matrix will composed of the body 1, the cradle 2, and it is mixture 3. The body 1 was made from nickel and oil, and the cradle 2 was prepared, covered from carbon. And the initial mixture was reddish brown and cylindrical region. It was about 27.68 grams, and it had a compression density of 6.2 grams per cubic centimeter. So to determine the presence of some major metal elements in the particle composition, we use the RF and SPOS spectroscopy to determine here. And here's the result. The mixture mainly composed of lead and the Coulomb. And the table 2.2 demonstrates confirms the domination of the lead and the Coulomb in the particle composition. And by reading some particle materials, we found that the Coulomb metal rarely acts as a fuel in the particle composition. And lead often used as an oxidant or combustion catalyst. And as an oxidizing agent, lead easily exists in 2 main forms, lead dioxide and resin. So when comparing with the color of the real image here, real sample here, it's possible to predict that the resin was used as an oxidizer or resin mixture. So to determine the presence of some organic functional groups in my particle composition, we use the infrared spectrum to determine, and here's the result. There was an absorption band of the specific functional groups for acid, as you can see on the screen. And so, from the analytical results, it is possible to predict that the particle sample was mainly composed of the Coulomb as a pure, resin as an oxidizer, and acid coil number 3 as a binder. This one, we use some methodologies and about that I mentioned above to determine the specification of the resin particle composition, including combustion heat, their evaporation temperature, burn rate, compression density, gas volume, and combustion temperature. And here's the fundamental specification to select, to compare, to select a suitable appropriate mixture to the subsequent study method. So let's move on to section 2.2. Theoretical calculation for proper selection of the particle composition. So the specification needs to be calculated including combustion heat, gas volume, and combustion temperature. And the theoretical calculation involves the following steps. Each step lives in the hypothetical molecular formula for 1 kilogram of the particle composition. and calculating the cumulance of consonant products and consonant and gas will. And due to the excessive configuration, the VBA programming language has been used for improving the accuracy and distribution. So here's the result. The table 2.4 demonstrates the effect of components ratio on the characteristic, including consonant factor, the oxygen valence coefficient, and gas volume. So as you can see here, when increasing the coding content from 10% to 20%, led to an increase in the figure for consonant and consonant factor, right? And the consonant and the consonant factor reaches highest value at the 4.8.7 times per gram and 40989 degree coverage. So in my list, I limit the range of the coding content from 60% to 6% for that be practical to you. So let's move on to the section 3.3, the effect of the coding content on some specification. The first one is the effect of the coding content on the capacity and the graduation temperature. So and here's the result, and you can see on the graph. The first one is the effect of the coding content on the capacity here. So it is clear from the graph that the coding content doesn't have a considerable influence on the capacity, right? For example, when increasing the coding content from 60% to 26%, led to an increase in the figure for capacity, right? And the capacity reaches maximum, value at 4.2.6 times per gram. And however, when consistently increasing the coding content from 20% to 26%, resulted in a decrease in the figure for capacity. And the empty sample containing 80% of Reddit and 20% zirconium. This study can take, capacity similar to the visual which the PS and manufactured. So let's move on to the equation of the coding content on the derivation temperature. Unlike the capacity, the coding content slightly affected the derivation temperature, right? When increasing the coding content from 60% to 26%, you can see on the graph that the derivation temperature, mostly remain unchanged. So the derivation temperature on the sample obtained is -10 seems to be consistent with the derivation temperature of this one with the PS temperature. And here's the effect of the constant heat and derivation. Let's move on to the effect of the coding content on constant temperature and gas volume. And here's the result. Let's start with the effect of the coding content on constant temperature. As you can see on the graph that the coding content has a great influence on the combustion temperature, right? And the combustion temperature of entry sample was similar to the combustion temperature of the Russell sample that I mentioned above, and significantly higher than that of the LPO method. Let's move on to the effect of the coding content on gas volume. So as you can see on the graph here, the coding content slightly influence the gas volume, and the visual with 20% of the coding content equivalent to entry sample. And this study can generate the gas volume similar to this one used to be yesterday. So here is the effect of the coding content on the burn rate. And here is the result. The table 2.6 and the figure 2.11 reveals the effect of the coding content on burn rate. So as you can see, I am the figure 2.11. The coding content has a similar effect on the burn rate. And the partial visual with the coding content of 20% equivalent to empty sample. Can achieve a burn rate similar to, the visual in the PS manufacturer. And so, in my thesis, I decided to choose the M3 sample to, the M3 sample would be, utilized for subsequent study in my thesis. So let's move on to section 3.4. The debate of the cooling project design on specification. And here's the result. Sorry. The first thing I want to show you the condition to actually my display. My pricing is supposed to have laboratory scale. And the particle size of granite was, less than 10 micrometer. And the cooling particle size will change from smaller than 10 micrometer to 65 micrometer. And the contents of the cooling granite and acid were 20, 80, and 1.5% respectively. And here's raw material particle size distribution of the granite and the cooling content with different sizes. So here's the result. The table 3.7 and the figure 3.40 demonstrate the effect of the cooling particle size on burn rate. As you can see on the figure 3.40, the burn rate gradually decreases in the figure for the cooling particle size. And the smallest particle size, for example, smaller 10 micrometer can achieve the maximum burn rate. You can see here. So the parameter with the cooling particle size smaller 10 micrometer, you can study can achieve the burn rate similar to this one in the PS net. And here's the effect of the cooling particle size on the vibration temperature, table 3.8 and figure 3.16. So as you can see on the figure 3.16, the dead vibration temperature gradually increases with the growth of the cooling particle size. Right? It's very easy to see. So the sample with the cooling particle size ranging from smaller 10 micrometer to 20 micrometer, you can achieve a dead vibration temperature similar to this solution. So let's move on to the section 3.5 to equate the hydrogen density on the burn rate. And here's the result of table 2.9 and figure 2.17. Illustrate the effect of density on the burn rate. As you can see on the figure here, as the hydrogen density directly affects the burn rate. And this will with the density ranging from 6.2 to 6.6 1 per cube centimeter, you can achieve a burn rate similar to this in the PS9 content. So let's move on to the last section, section 3.6. I can offer technological process to reduce the hydrogen composition based on the cooling granite and acid. And here you can see on the screen here, as a technological process diagram for manufacturing the hydrogen composition and the condition. So let's move on to the conclusions. After spending a lot of time to conduct the practical experiment in my thesis, I got some results here. The matrix composed of the body of primitive and initial mixture. And the type mixture in the matrix was mainly composed of granite, zirconium, and natural cellulose. And the type sample varied the content of pure to oxidizer 10% and 80% respectively, and the content of acid is 1.5% are separated, and the particle size of the green and red are less than 10 micrometer, has the same chemical specification compared with the composition in the matrix of the PS9. So let's move on to the direction for future research. Scientific knowledge has no boundary. The fundamental aspect. The following areas can be of particular interest. influence of various kinds of bias and catalysts on specification and regulate of the high-definition composition. And the factors affect the thermal composition process of the high-definition composition. And because of storage conditions on the specification of the high-definition composition. And this brings me to the end of my presentation. And thank you once again. Thank you so much.